I'm your host, T. Mitchell Bell, and we have in the studio today Thomas Roue from the Pale Barn Ghost from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Good, man.
Tom,
How are you?
Thomas?
Thomas is fine. Tom,
all right.
Tom works so too.
Thanks for driving from Gettysburg today to join us on the show, and thank you for joining us here on the air and listening at 91.7 FM here in Washington, Pittsburgh area. And we're streaming live at WNJR.org. And Tom, I'm going to ask you to dig in and play something for us right off the top of the bat. What are you going to do?
No problem. It's a song called Day Remains. It's about a lot of the rural area I live in. Anytime I drive the back roads, there's always reminders of friends that have been in car crashes and that type of thing. So it's kind of about that, a life and death type thing, and reflecting on where those people would be today, and then to kind of like take the lesson to appreciate every day, that you're out driving on that beautiful day. So
okay.
So here we go.
All right.
Fragments remain from past collisions, headlight lamps, telephone poles, splinters that take your life in your hands. Every time you walk out the door, and I think I'll slow myself down. I think I'll slow myself down. Friends that were lost by traveling this way tonight, can't help but wonder what they did like at this age. Happiness and pain sometimes feel the same. You have to stop and look around. Still some beauty can be found in this wicked world. I'll take no photographs. The past is past, so the day remains. So the day remains. And every landing's a good one that you walk away from. Every day there's a chance could be the last. We'll call your mother and father, tell them you're on your way home. There's just no time to mess around. The crows are gathering in the fields of battle. They have quieted down. I'll take no photographs. The past is past, so the day remains. So the day remains.
Cool. I like that.
Thank you much.
Nice ambient tune there.
Very cool.
Yeah. It makes you want to be out driving in the car, got a feeling.
Yeah, most of the songs are driving themed, it seems. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Is that off of your last CD?
That is, we did a Pale Barn Ghost record, an EP, that because of the lineup changes, we kind of delayed in putting it out, but we are going to put it out in the next month or so. So that is on there with the full band. So
yeah. Well, I got your submission on Sonic Bids, and I read your bio, and it was the most interesting bio. We were talking about that a little bit before the show, and so I'm just going to read a little bit of it to the audience out there, so they understand. You know, it got my attention because you read a lot of things, and it, you know, so and so started playing when they were in high school, blah blah blah, and they all kind of sound the same. You know, after a while, everybody knows the story. And what makes it unique, I think, is this is pretty cool. But it says, the Pale Barn Ghosts met in the winter of 2007. Thomas, Sean, and Klaus have been laid off from their jobs and decided to seek employment through the local temp agency. They were assigned jobs at the local cemetery, working as cemetery maintenance technicians. The ground was particularly frozen that year. The extra manpower was needed to dig the plots. Not their first choice of work, but they took what they could get. The suicide rate that winter had nearly doubled from the year before, so the hours were very long. Even on the days when the outside temperature was above freezing, one grave could take up to 3 hours to dig. To escape the cold and thaw out the frostbitten hands, the three would retreat to an abandoned Civil War-era barn that lay at the far corner of the cemetery property. The barn was known to the groundskeepers as the Pale Barn. And I'll fast forward a little bit through here. While clearing out an old casket to take afternoon naps in, they found some old guitars. And it goes on to say that's how the Pale Barn Ghost band was formed. And I thought that was a very unique story of a way of, you know, I would take it as fiction. You know, that sounds like a little far-fetched.
yeah, other than working a crap job, that part's true.
No, you guys weren't cemetery maintenance technicians, huh?
No, we tried to, in the title, tried to combine like a rural element and a supernatural element, and as well as describe our all general appearance. We're all pretty nocturnal beings, so
okay.
That's what the word pale comes from. But I also kind of like the way the three words sounded together, and then after I had the name, it's like I had to come up with something. But then, like you said, reading people's bios, it's all the same thing, and who wants to read another one of those? So.
It reminded me of that skit that he used to have on Conan with Gaffigan, Pale Force. I don't know if you've ever saw that. Yeah. That is just hilarious. Jim Gaffigan is one of my favorite comedians. I try to tell people about him whenever I get a chance. You know,
comedy's important in solo performing, studying the good comics. I think when you have to get up in front of a lot of people and entertain by yourself, learning from comedians is a good way to go, I think.
Yeah, especially when you watch them bomb,
It's got to be one of the hardest jobs, I think, just because, timing and then having the confidence. And you can have good material, but if you don't deliver it well, I mean, you could write the best line, but it's like if you try to emulate a famous comedian's line, like, to your friends, like, sometimes it doesn't come off right, and it's all timing. Really hard job, I think. So.
Yeah. Songwriting and is the same thing. I remember, so where did you get now, other than this fictional account? Mm-hmm. What's the real deal? How did you guys all come together? And
I've known Klaus and Sean since high school. I think they were both born playing guitars or something. Sean was had a pretty strict upbringing, was locked in his room, had to play bass. That's all he had to do. And Klaus, I think, was learning Dylan and Hendrix stuff since he was probably 8 or 9 years old. But I knew those guys from high school, and I had done the singer-songwriter thing for a few years, and I was going to do a third record, and decided that I should probably have some other instrumentation just to give it a try, though I was kind of against it at first because I liked the idea of being kind of independent, not relying on other people. But so I got those guys to come in the studio with me, and we did the Thomas Roue and the So-Called Friends record, and we just kept playing together, and